Hello friends, and welcome to another Happily Letter After tutorial. Since it's February, we are going to do a lettering piece using the word love, and we haven't done a lettering piece in a while, so we're going to do Love Overcomes, and we're going to do a simple lettering piece that uses just the brushes that come with Procreate. There's no set color palette. You can use whatever colors you'd like. If you want to follow along with me, then you can. And the canvas size is a square 3000 by 3000 pixels. And so I'm just going to pinch out a little bit so that we can see the entire canvas. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change my background color. So if you click on the layers up here and go to a background color, and I'm in the disk view, if you double tap the bottom, you're going to get pure black, and then you can just hit done. And now on layer 1, we're going to go to our color wheel again, and if you double tap the top left, you're going to get pure white. And so now in the brushes, I am going to be in the calligraphy brush set. This is free. It came with Procreate, and I'm going to use this first brush up here, the Kunani, or however you pronounce that very first one. And I like the texture that this one gives. So first I'm going to write out the word love. And I'm actually going to make it a little bit smaller so I can select it with the arrow tool and just kind of zoom out. I have it on uniform, and I also have snapping on. I have the snapping turned on, so the little orange crosshair in the middle vertical, that's lets me know that it's centered. So now I have that centered, and I'm actually going to, I think I'm going to angle it just a little bit. And now I'm going to use a different brush, and I'm going to go on a different layer as well, just in case I want to move things around. And I'm going to use, also in the calligraphy brush, I'm going to do the shale brush, and I'm going to just write the word overcomes. This one's a little bit thinner, and it's nice for details. I'm just going to write it kind of along the bottom here. And I think it needs to be a little bit smaller, so I'm just going to do the same thing where I'm going to just zoom out just a little bit, and you can tap with your finger and it'll move it in the direction that you tap instead of having to drag it, because sometimes you want to get it positioned just right, and so that helps it a little bit. Okay, so I like how that looks. Now I'm going to select both layers by sliding to the left or to the right and making sure they're both blue. And I still have the uniform and snapping turned on, and I have the orange crosshairs. I don't know if you can see it really well, but it creates like, 4 squares on here. That means it's completely centered, so that's what I wanted. So now I've got my design completely centered, and you can just tap on layer 2 and add a new layer on top of that. And I am going to add, I'm going to do some green. So this is, if you want to use the exact color that I'm using, let me get the value for you if you want to use this. It's the hashtag 6FAF3A. So that's the color green that I'm using, but you don't have to use the same colors as me. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use this color, and I'm going to go back into the brushes, and you know what, actually I think I'm going to use the same one. I'm going to use this shale brush, but I'm going to reduce the size. So I had it at 23%, and I'm going to bring it down to about 11%. And so now I'm going to start drawing some vines around it. So you could be done if you want to. You could just leave it as just lettering, but I like to add a little bit of extra to it. So I'm going to add some vines coming off of this piece, and I like to just do some swirls that go along the piece, and you could do whatever your little heart desires. This is your piece, so feel free to get as detailed with it as you want or as simple with it as you want. I like to follow the curves of the letters, and you don't have to, because we're going to add flowers. I'm going to do a pink next, but you don't have to if you don't want to. You could just leave it as line work. And so I'm just kind of filling in some of these gaps, and I'm not doing it in any particular way. Like, I'm just doing what kind of looks like it needs some stuff. And now I know, like, if you're doing like 3D lettering, you want to make sure that you do it all on one side. This isn't 3D. This is just a random, like, just doodles around your piece as if you were sketching this on paper or whatever. So it's not meant to be a perfect 3D type of a deal. So you can kind of have that freedom when you do this. Because like I said, it's not meant to be a specific 3D design or whatever. So you can feel reassured with that. You don't have to get it perfect. I get kind of picky with my little swirls here. I'm not going to do the outlines on the overcomes because it's such a long word that I feel like it might get overkill to do all of that. So I'm just going to leave that as is. Now I'm going to get my pink color. I'm going to add this on another layer. And you can label these if you want, so you could do green or vines or however. And then these are going to be flowers, but I think I'm going to do mainly kind of heart shapes for these flowers. So I'm going to use this pink here. And again, if you want that value, and you can type this in, and if you go to the value in hexadecimal, so the hashtag FC8DBE. And so you can use that same color. So I'm going to stick with the same brush, and I like to turn my canvas when I'm working. It just helps me. So I'm going to just draw some hearts, and I'm going to color it in. Now, the other way you could do it is if you wanted to drag your color in, you can do that, but see how it has like that solid look to it? To me, I don't like how that looks with this piece. It doesn't look right. It looks fake, and it looks too computer generated, and I want it to kind of have that hand look feel to it. So I'm gonna just color it in manually, and you know, there's something about doing that. It's very relaxing. There are some pieces where it's like, I just want to get this done, and I'll do that. Or if it's like a specific piece that I want it to look more clean, I'll do that. But for pieces like this, I really like that hand feel to it, and it's nice to draw. It brings you back to those days when you did everything by hand and you didn't have Procreate, and you just did everything with pen and paper, and there's just something so relaxing about that. Feel free to write in the comments if you agree, because I'd love to hear your thoughts. I love doing all these drawings by hand on the computer and on paper as well. Now I'm overlapping some of these, and that's okay, like on top of the vine. The vines were just kind of there for a guide, so you don't have to be exact with any of this. So this is up to you. You can make it as full or as empty or whatever as you like. This is completely up to you how you want to do it. It's your piece. Some people like more negative space. Some people like it completely full. It really is preference. It doesn't matter. It's just whatever appeals to your eye and to what you like. Everybody's preferences are different. Everybody's tastes are different. So, and it's art. So there's really no right or wrong answer for this. It's just preference. And just have fun with it, because that's pretty much the whole reason we do art, right? For the fun, it makes you feel good. I don't do art really for others. I do it mostly for myself. It's very therapeutic for me. I do sell some artwork, but that's, I mean, I'd love to be able to just sell artwork and that would be it, but doesn't always work out that way. I just do it. Not everybody likes your art, but that's okay as long as you like it. And I think I'm gonna leave that green one. So this is what I have so far, and I'm really liking how this is looking. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add some random hearts in here, just some, and I'm not gonna color them in. I'm just gonna do some random ones that kind of go along the lines a bit, like they kind of curve with it. And if you ever need to undo, like if you make a mistake and you don't like how it looks, if you 2-finger tap, it'll undo, 3-finger tap will redo. If you don't have that ability and it's not working for you, check your settings. Go up here and check your settings. It's a real easy fix. But it's my favorite. I got spoiled using Procreate and having the undo and redo buttons because now when I do things on paper, I'm like, oh no, I need to do the redo button. Where's the undo button? And I got so spoiled with it. So yeah, it's kind of sad, but that's okay. But see how it's starting to fill it in a bit. It's starting to look a little better. I'm going to add more green to this as well because I feel like there's not enough green. But for right now, let's make enough hearts where you feel happy with it. I'm actually going to do some leaves on, we're going to add some leaves to our vine. But for me, I like to do the flowers or the hearts, you know, in this case, I like to do that first because you don't know exactly where things are going to be. And I don't like to fill it out with leaves until I know kind of where I'm placing things and what it's going to start looking like. So I like to get that idea first of, hey, this is how it's looking right now. Okay. So I think I'm satisfied with my hearts. So now I'm going to go back to layer 3, which has my vines. And if you go to your history, you could just tap on your green again. You don't have to try to find it again. You can always add it to a color palette if you're concerned. And I'm going to choose a different brush. And actually, you know what? Just in case I don't like how this is going to turn out, I'm going to make another layer on top of the vines layer. This is layer 5. It's right underneath our hearts. So I'm going to add another layer and I'm going to go to the brushes and I am going to use, let me see. You know what? I am going to stick with this shale brush, I think, but I'm going to make it bigger again. So let's go back to the 24%. And if you lightly, like do light pressure and then hard, it should make some leaves. Now you can experiment because there's other brushes in here. And like, let's try this water brush. Like you can test the different textures and see which one you like better. Actually, I kind of like that one, but it's way too big. So we'll go down to like 16%. So there's that kind of a texture. We already saw the shale brush. You want one that's one of these, like where it has like the tapered ends. Those work best for doing leaves. So I highly recommend using one of those kind of brushes. You could also try this blotchy brush. That's more of a watercolor feel, which is a little odd because this is kind of like a colored pencil, almost look, or a chalky look. So you could use this chalk brush. But I think that, which brush should I say it was? Was it the water pen? Yeah, see, that one's not bad. So we can use this water pen and just draw some little leaves in here and there. And it's nice because it's kind of like a cheater way of doing leaves, because you don't have to draw them individually. And remember, it's all about the pressure when you do this. So light pressure, hard pressure, light pressure. Don't be afraid to push down on your screen. Your iPad can take it, I promise. Turning my canvas really helps me. That's my biggest thing, is I'm always turning my canvas as I'm drawing, and that really helps me with the different shapes and everything. And some brushes, they work better when you have different angles. So you have to do a different angle. It's the way the settings are, and you can change settings in the brushes. That would be a whole nother class though. So we won't get into all that today. But I kind of like how it has like that smoky look, almost like it was starting to rub off of a chalkboard. So we have all these nice little leaves filling it in. Just where you think that you need some, like you have some gaps and you want to add some leaves. So just make sure that you're following your vine a bit when you're doing this. Oh, that was perfect. I love that leaf. Some of them turn out better than others. Some of them I like way better than others when I'm doing this, and it surprises you sometimes because it's kind of always different. It's kind of like when you're actually drawing, you know, you never really know. And as Bob Ross would always say, happy little accidents. There's no mistakes in art. You just roll with it, make them into happy little accidents. Okay, this leaf is not turning out. There we go. So just keep filling in wherever you feel like you have spaces that you really need to fill, spaces that bother you. So I like it to be somewhat full, but I don't like to make it too full because I like to have the breathing room there. So I think I'm pretty happy with this. I would love to see how yours turns out. So if you want to share with me on Instagram using the hashtag BlackRose613 and Wonder Wednesday projects, I would love to see what you come up with. And have a happy Valentine's Day. Till next time, keep creating.